Hi everyone, Professor Mendez here. In this video, I will be talking about developmental periods. Developmental periods are also referred to as developmental stages. A developmental period refers to a segment or portion of the lifespan, that is, the entire lifetime, when we expect predictable changes to occur. Another way to think about a developmental period can be how we divide the lifespan. And in each of these divisions that we're calling developmental periods, predictable changes are going to occur. And these predictable changes can fall under physical changes, cognitive, that is, language and learning, changes within those areas, or social emotional development changes. There are several developmental periods in the lifespan. Here you can see a list of the different developmental periods. I want to note a few things before I get into each of these periods briefly. Depending on who you are asking, so an individual from which profession or which educational background, they may name these developmental periods differently. So a physician might think about these developmental periods in a way that might differ from an early childhood educator. And that's because these two different professions are going to be focused on different things. Another thing I want you to note is look through the age ranges that we have here for each developmental period. I want you to notice that, for example, let's look at toddlerhood. Toddlerhood indicates from around 12 to 15 months to 2 to 3 years of age. One of the reasons why these age ranges are not these hard limits is because when we think about developmental periods, we're thinking about the expected changes. We're not so much focused on the age of the child, because we know, or the individual, in this case, toddlerhood, a child. The reason why that is because we know that some children, when we're talking about children, are going to meet a milestone or be able to complete a task either earlier or later when compared to other children. So with these age ranges here, they give us a general idea of when we should expect the changes to occur within these different periods. Okay. And then when we look at adulthood has really broad age ranges. And again, that's to account more for what are the different tasks and the different expectations that we have on average of individuals during each of these periods. The developmental periods can be marked by either biological changes that occur during that time, as would be the case during the prenatal period, while others are marked by the societal expectations, such as would be the case during, say, adolescence or middle adulthood. However, we can expect that all the changes that are going to occur are going to fall under those different areas that I mentioned earlier: physical, cognitive, and social emotional. When we think about the developmental periods, we can divide them into two. We can think about child development and adult development. And when we think about the adult development, for example, adolescence was a little tricky one. So the adult developmental periods can begin here in the list in adolescence, or they can begin in young adulthood. Again, that really depends on who you're asking. Where are they from? In industrialized countries such as that of the United States, we have, there's the social expectations that individuals are going to go through the period of adolescence, in which someone within that period is not necessarily considered a child, but they're not necessarily considered an adult with the adult responsibilities. Where you can think about it in another part of the world, someone who is, say, 13 years old might have what we consider in the United States to be adult-like responsibilities. So we're getting at, one of the things that I want to highlight here as well is that culture is going to play a major role in how we are going to interpret and understand development. When we think about child development, we are thinking about these different periods. The prenatal period, so at the point of conception, all the way until birth. And then we're going to think about after birth, infancy and toddlerhood. We oftentimes look at those two together. Early childhood, and then middle childhood. Until next time.